I'm Millie Morrow, and I'm Associate Dean, Canon for Pastoral Care and Mission here at All Souls Cathedral. I'm also a missioner for Kairos West Community Center. So we travel to Cuba often with our youth group and some of the adults here at All Souls. And 5 years ago, we were in Cuba, and we stayed at a place called Kairos, Cuba. And it's a fabulous place. The front doors stay open all the time on the main road. People come in from outside for clean water, which can be hard to get there. But what happens is they come in, they sit down, they start talking to each other, they pray together, they do art together, they have liturgy. But in the midst of all of it, they end up solving community problems and building the capacity of the community to really thrive. And as a pilgrim, I got to just observe that when I went 5 years ago, which was a real gift. I wasn't leading anything or organizing anything, I was just observing. And what I saw there from my past as a social worker and my present as clergy was that this was really transformational church 24/7. And I thought to myself, as a resident of West Asheville and watching the rapid gentrification of that neighborhood, I thought this is really what West Asheville needs. We need a place that's open to the public where people can connect. And so we started dreaming about that with a core group of clergy and lay folks here in Western North Carolina. And I wrote a grant and got that grant. And we started up at 742 Haywood Road 5 years ago. And now we're at 610 Haywood Road down the street. And 5 years later, we have over 36 different organizations using our space for networking and social justice organizing. We feed 100 to 150 people a day with a 12 Baskets cafe, free food cafe. And we're a presence where people are welcome. People feel at home to be there. They're known for who they are, and they're welcomed for who they are. And just to have public space in the middle of a gentrified urban area is such a gift. And it really doesn't exist much in West Asheville at all, actually, in West Asheville. So one of the things I love about Kairos West is we seek to reduce isolation. We seek to increase cooperation between social justice organizations. And we try to do that while lowering the barrier of commerce. So we provide public space for people who feel isolated, whether that's an individual or an organization, right? Because we all get isolated. We provide just the space for people to come into. And then once the space is there, it's the kind of the old joke of build it and they will come, right? So we have this beautiful space open to anyone, and the anyones that end up coming in usually need to know each other and usually build relationships. And from those relationships, all kinds of things happen, from individuals finding housing to organizations finding grants. But in all of those ways, what we're doing is connecting people and decreasing the isolation that happens when an area is so gentrified that all that matters anymore is what we can produce and what we can consume. The most gratifying thing to me about the work at Kairos West is the relationships that happen organically in the space, just over a cup of coffee or a meal. When you watch people who would normally never speak to each other in the quote unquote real world, but when invited into a space that is open and available for all, suddenly connect and find things in common with each other where you would predict there's no commonality, is gratifying. And all you have to do is get out of the way. And these are the things that will happen when we make room for the Spirit. So Kairos means abundant time. And our culture, in the capitalist culture, what we are led to believe is that there's a scarcity of everything. Scarcity of food, scarcity of time, scarcity of energy, scarcity of connection. But in Kairos time and in God's time, what we realize is there's an abundance. Everything we need is there. We have so much food, we don't know what to do with it. It's not about lacking food. It's about lacking the creativity to know how to share it, or the willingness to share it. In that space, the willingness and the creativity are there. And so it happens. People are fed, but not just by the food, but by the relationships at the table. I would encourage folks to visit Kairos West, whether that's to have lunch or simply step inside and have a cup of coffee. We're open from 9 to 4 most days. We need hosts for the space in order to stay open until 4. So currently there are going to be times when we're closed at 2 because that's when the host has to leave. I would encourage folks at All Souls to come and eat lunch at 12 Baskets Cafe. I would encourage them to go upstairs and visit the awesome bookstore at Firestorm. And I would encourage them to get to know that neighborhood and to observe it. And I believe as we observe West Asheville in general, we're going to see the obvious need for public space, right? And then with all of that wisdom and information, come in, have lunch, look around, learn, and then let us know where the Spirit leads you, where you feel led to engage with Kairos West. Could be in a multitude of ways. You could host the space. You could donate things to the space that you see are needed, time, money, all kinds of ways to connect there. One of the things I love about the stories that we receive in our scripture about Jesus is that Jesus is always walking on the margins. He's always walking with the marginalized on the borderlands, in between places, right? To me, Kairos West is one of those in-between places where people who have been marginalized, who've been forgotten, who've been abandoned by high capitalism, can be and can meet Jesus. And really all of us are in that in-between place. Just some of us are protected from that. But we all need places where we know we have the chance to meet Jesus. And Kairos West is one of those places to me where I am pretty guaranteed if I walk in that space, I'm going to meet Jesus.